The People's Business is made possible by our partners, Solar Dynamics, the most efficient energy systems.
A pleasant good night to you and welcome to another edition of The People's Business. Always good to have you with us. I'm your host, Shane Seeley, and tonight we are talking about insurance and you. Why should insurance be so important for us here in Barbados? And we have all of the experts in to talk about this here with us tonight. Randy Graham, he is the president of the General Insurance Association of Barbados, and along with him, the directors David Alleyne and Anton, Lovell, all insurance bosses, spending some time with us tonight. So it's all about insurance and you. Why does it matter? We'll delve into that here tonight on The People's Business. We'll be back in a few moments.
Is damaged, your roof, your windows, your contents, if you rent, and your appliances are damaged, and it's 50,000, 60,000 to repairs, how will you pay that? Now, if you have savings, if you have access to savings and you can take $20,000 out and repair the car, that's great. Or if you can go and take a mortgage or a second loan to help repair the car, that's also acceptable. But for many people in Barbados, that is not always an option. And insurance then becomes a viable option for those repairs, and that's why it's so important. We think it's also very important because it gives people a peace of mind. So you get involved in a vehicular accident, your first call is to the insurance company. Somebody comes out and guides you at the scene about how you get your car repaired, and you have a peace of mind. Your building, your house is burnt down, unfortunately damaged by fire. It's a circumstance where you call the insurance company and we walk you through the process of getting you funds to be able to rebuild. It gives you that peace of mind. And that's why insurance is so important. Now, of course, we understand very well the frustrations with insurance. Many people pay insurance for 5 years, 10 years, and they do not make a claim, and it frustrates them because they see no benefit, or they say they see no benefit. But if you have your same $50,000 car, Shane, you leave CBC one day, somebody cuts you off, and your bill is $30,000, right? If you have been paying your insurance for 5 years, no accident, you pay $5,000, but in the year you have the accident, you have to take $20,000 out of your bank. So you pay five, and if you didn't pay the five, if you didn't buy insurance, you will save $5,000, but you have to pay 20. Those persons that have bought the insurance, they pay $5,000, but then the insurance company gives them a check for 20. If it was your house, you can go 10 years without a claim, and you pay $10,000 over 10 years, and it frustrates people because it's intangible. You don't see a benefit from it. But when you have that damage, for the $10,000 in premium you pay, you get a check for $60,000 to repair. So if the cost of gas goes up, it frustrates us, but we can see when we drive our car. If the cost of food goes up, it frustrates us, but we can eat. Insurance is intangible, so we understand that it's frustrating. But when that damage occurs, there's really no better option than insurance to get you money to carry out your repairs. And that's why insurance is very frustrating, but also very beneficial. And one of the reasons why since the 1700s, it's been one of the most preferred ways of funding repairs to assets that you've invested in.
Yeah, it's all about having that cover, and as you said, a peace of mind. But then some people don't have a peace of mind when they see the money coming out of their hands and they're not getting back something for it immediately. And Anton, these are discussions that you have with clients and policyholders, people who want to know about insurance from time to time. For you, when you have those discussions, what is the key thing, the key message that you want to get to them about why insurance is so important?
Yes, thank you, Shane. Thank you. Good night to you. Good night to the my fellow callers, the viewers, sorry, and to the my fellow panelists. Yes, Shane, what person's got to understand first is that insurance, a general insurance contract, is a contract for 1 year, where the insurance company, we assume the risk from them, whether, as the president said just now, whether it's the car, whether it's your home, and so we undertake that risk from you. And we undertake that risk for small portion, what we call the premium. And it's not like a bank. It's not you banking money every month, every year or so. As I said, the insurance contract is for 1 single year. So when that year is finished, then we offer a renewal to you. So that's the basic thing when it comes to general insurance. Also, to get a loan for a car or mortgage for a house, that is when again persons rely that is the financial companies, institutions, whether the credit unions or the banks, they ask you to ensure that their asset is protected. And again, that's how useful insurance is, because they're not going to lend you any money or grant you a mortgage unless you have that insurance in place.
Indeed. David, in terms of your conversations, now what are some of the things that you think policyholders may miss from time to time when it comes to understanding the realm of insurance?
Good night, Shane. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
I think that one of the main things is what Randy said. That's an asset. It's something you spent your entire life trying to accumulate. And if the worst comes to the worst, there is a risk transfer mechanism there, which is otherwise called insurance, that can look after people, protect them. As Randy said again, give you peace of mind. There is a perception that yes, you can put the money aside, and you can put it into a fund. But if something happens to your property in the first couple of years, before the fund builds up, then you have the entire debt to pay yourself. So whether it's a motor car or your home, those are the two biggest investments that people will probably make in their life. And it is only makes sense for that cover to be in place.
Now, the conversation that we have been having, and I say we because the media and the insurance industry generally has been having, we've been seeing it pop up, and it has been creating discussion among the public as well, is the cost. People are already worried about the cost of insurance generally, how much they were paying on their premiums in some cases. And then we are hearing, because of what is happening worldwide, the cost could go up. So I think many of our viewers tonight would want to know, why is the cost going up and when is it going up? So Randy, I want to come to you on that.
Right, Shane. Well, let me first start by touching on the topic of reinsurance, right? Because, you know, like a bakery has a main input of flour, and if the cost of flour goes up, the cost of bread goes up. If the cost of crude oil goes up, the cost of gas goes up. In insurance, we have an input. Our main input is called reinsurance. What we have to fund, and it's reinsurance accounts for about maybe 60, sometimes more, of the cost of insurance to us, which we have to pass on. So once the cost of reinsurance goes up, invariably, unfortunately, the cost of insurance to the consumer is going to be impacted. Now, you will ask, why do we have reinsurance? And I don't want to have a big set of numbers out there, but just for you to understand, in Barbados, if we looked at all of the properties, all of the houses, all of the government buildings around Barbados, right? That may come to 50 billion Barbados dollars with a B, right? In our banking system, the savings in our banking system is about 14 billion, right? In the system alone. Anytime there's a hurricane and we have 20 or 30 billion dollars of damage in this country, there is simply not enough money in the country, in the banking system, the government, to fund the repairs. So as an insurance sector, we have gone out to negotiate with international reinsurers, and these people have hundreds of billions of dollars. And we've negotiated contracts with them. And if there was to be a hurricane in this country, the reinsurers will send the money that we need to rebuild and repair Barbados within a few weeks. And we will have the money in country to be able to rebuild. And Barbados can rest assured that we have negotiated that. And that comes at a cost of about 60 or more % of the premium. So what has happened is that input cost of reinsurance from the globe has gone up. And we have absorbed some as the insurance sector, but some we simply cannot absorb all of the cost increase. And unfortunately, there's going to be an impact on the insurance rate. But at the same time, Barbadians can rest assured that if there was ever to be a hurricane, an earthquake, any natural catastrophe in this country, the reinsurance that our sector has negotiated will help to repair and rebuild this country. It is just unfortunate it has come at a material cost.
And when, that's the other question, when will Barbadians be forced to pay the increased costs?
But to be honest with you, Shane, the insurance companies have been paying the increased cost since January 2023. So we've started to take on the costs as early as January. Some companies from the back end of 2022. And we have shielded the majority of consumers from the cost as best as we can. So you may see that some people are paying from February or March renewals are paying higher premiums, and it has started for some, and some, you know, it probably may not be as steep for. So to be honest with you, the price increases that you have already seen in the market, they have started since January, but mostly people with renewals that come in February or March will feel it, and as your renewal comes up April, May, further down in the year, you probably will start to see it a little bit more.
And I think that will have a knock-on effect in a number of areas, and we will get to that in a matter of moments. Callers, we know we will have many callers tonight. Those numbers, 228-5562, 228-5563, to join our conversation as we talk about insurance. And you, of course, just a reminder to you viewers, we have with us tonight Randy Graham, the president of the GIAB, the General Insurance Association of Barbados. Anton, Lovell, and David Alleyne are directors with the body. We'll take a short break and be back to talk a bit more about insurance and you here on The People's Business. We're focusing on insurance and you tonight on The People's Business with our insurance experts. Already we're being flooded with calls and we'll try to get to as many of you as possible here tonight on the show. So let's welcome our first caller. Good night. Welcome to The People's Business. What's your question or comment for the panel? Okay, we seem to be not hearing that caller, so let's carry on the conversation. So I want to come to something that I know is very passionate, a passionate subject for our Anton Lovell as a director of the GIAB and as an insurance boss. You always talk about car insurance, why it's so important to have car insurance. With the cost going up now, are there going to be more concerns about the people who are not insured on the roads of Barbados, and what does this mean? So talk about the trends that you're seeing generally, Anton, in the car insurance industry and some of your concerns.
Yes, well, the trends being noticed is not very good in that, yes, we are having a lot of uninsured motorists on our roads now, and a lot of unlicensed drivers driving on our streets. And that's a real cause for concern. With respect to the costs, I just want your viewers to understand that the average cost of an accident a few years ago was about $5,000. Today, that average cost now is $15,000 for every accident you see on average. And with injury, that goes up, that doubles between $30,000 and $35,000. So it's for a long time the insurance companies have been holding their premiums, but it has come a time now that we operate in Barbados. We operate where everything has gone up. Everything has gone up. So again, our water bills, our electricity, our rent, you name it, and double that is the accident cost that has risen as well. So it is only reasonable that we now have to look to do something before premiums. And yes, as the president said, we would not pass on all to our policyholders. But again, as an industry, we still have to survive. We still have to pay that reinsurance cost, as the president mentioned earlier.
And something else that is going up as well in terms of numbers, the number of accidents that you're actually seeing on the road. It looks like every corner you turn, you see an accident, causes a huge backup on the highways, and of course, we hope it's not a worst case scenario, and we will come back to that in a matter of moments, but we do have a caller on the line. Let's go to the phone lines now. Good night. Welcome to The People's Business. What's your question or comment?
Hello, good evening. It's regarding house insurance. I would like to say that I have a home and it's insured quite a lot of. And when we had cash, I tried to claim for some of the damage that was caused by the ash. And I was told I had to pay 2% of what I insured the home for. Now, that percent is something like 7,000. And I was told I was eligible because I wouldn't be paying 7,000 the ash up. So what's the point of paying insurance like that when one has to pay so much?
Well, caller, I want you to stay on the line for a minute because your question is important to us, but I want to make sure that all of the panelists are hearing you clearly. Are you all hearing the caller clearly there just now?
Yeah, not clearly.
It's popping in and out.
Not really.
So caller,
But
what I would like you to do, hold a sec. What I'd like you to do, caller, is just try to speak directly into the phone. Do not monitor your television so that our panelists can hear your question, because your question is important. I know you're mentioning some concerns you had about home insurance. So can you go again on that?
Okay, yes. As I said, I have a home and have it insured for quite a bit. And when ash around, I tried to claim for the ash damage, and I was told that I would have to pay 2% of what I paid to insure, cost of insurance, total cost, before I could get anything. So that was something like $7,000. And I found that painful at the time, knowing that I paid insurance for over 20 years, first claiming, and then one to pay all of the money, which is quite right, I believe.
Okay.
Yes, Shane, I think I
thank
understand what
Yeah, I was going to say, I think I heard her, even although she was still breaking up. I understand the question. So you handle it, Anton.
Yeah.
And then, David, I'll let you have an
2%.
opportunity to chime in as well.
Yeah, her considered 2% deductible and having insured for so many years. As I mentioned earlier, an insurance contract is for 1 year, where you pay a premium for that 1 year and we assume the risk. In the contract, if people read their policies, they recognize in the property there's a deductible of 2% for cat perils, which is the same hurricane, earthquake, and again the ashfall as mentioned earlier. So yes, you will be responsible for the first 2% of any claim, and because the claim will fall below 2% of the sum insured, then unfortunately he was unable to make a claim. So again, that's just knowing your policy and the terms and conditions.
And $7,000, she was saying, is quite a lot to pay, knowing that she never made a claim before. She was concerned about that. David, how should a homeowner feel? You know, first time they're making a claim, $7,000 up front to try to claim on the insurance. How do you handle that? It may seem a bit harsh for some people.
Shane, it's very difficult, and it's something that the industry really should have a conversation with our people about. So I mean, we really welcome this opportunity to talk about these things. The 2% deductible was imposed on everybody in the Caribbean, homeowners and commercial property owners some years ago, by reinsurers who reinsure this region. Essentially what they're saying is that you cannot transfer 100% of liability to us. We will write 98% of it, but you take 2% first. The insurance companies cannot take that for our account because 2% of the accumulated risk is a substantial amount of money. So it has to be passed on to the insureds. It is akin to an excess in motor insurance where you have to pay the first amount. Shane, it's a lot. 2% is a lot. Unfortunately, we in the region have to apply it because it has been imposed on us by international reinsurers. What I would suggest that people do is to take the policy, as Anton said, read the clause. It's 2% of the sum insured. Then see if you can put something aside, because that first part has to be satisfied before the entire claim can be paid.
Indeed. We have another caller on the line, so let's go there again. Good night, caller. Welcome to the People's Business. What's your question or comment for the panel?
Yeah, good night, Shane, to you on the panel.
Good night.
especially to Randy. I know Randy from a little boy who used to work with his father at Shell. I can't remember his brother name now. I know he used to work at Sagicor before. I played cricket against him also. But my question is that one time that you do still pay car insurance, you used to get a percentage off if you don't get in any accident. And now it's done at one standard fee. Wait, and it take away all the incentives that the payers used to have. So I want to know why that was taken away.
Okay, thank you, caller. Appreciate your question. A good question too. The caller basically wants to know why are there no incentives, and I know this question would come on the background too. We watch what happens in other jurisdictions, and we see all this accident forgiveness and a lot of initiatives that these international insurance companies have for their good drivers, for their good insurance policy holders, so to speak. So why can't something like that be done here in Barbados as well, Randy?
Yeah, Shane, it wasn't taken away. In fact, it's still very much there. It's called no claim discount. And if you drive every year that you drive without an accident, your no claim discount increases, which means that the premium that you pay is actually lower and lower every year. And for many people in Barbados, as much as we complain about the insurance rate, your premium actually gets lower and lower every year on the motor side because of the no claim deductible. What happened with that call, I suspect, is that he has driven very well for many years, and so he's at his maximum discount. He's gone to as much discount as he can get for having no accidents, and so his premium, he's paying the minimum premium and will continue to pay the minimum premium that is chargeable because he has not had an accident, right? And many companies find different ways to reward those good drivers, various tokens or so on that you may get. But once you got to the minimum premium, you may be paying $900, $1,000 a year, and that's the lowest that we can charge based on no claim discount, and he will continue to benefit from that low premium year in, year out.
Okay, I want to come back to the home insurance side now. When people hear that first caller we had and hear $7,000 on that 2% that they will be forced to pay to make that claim, some people may do what many are doing right now, which is running and turning away from getting home insurance. And we know the danger that poses for the homeowner. Is there anything, because David, you mentioned it's 2%, you can't accept 100%. Is there anything that can be done to encourage more Barbadians to want to get home insurance? Because we all heard generally that there are concerns with the level of home insurance not provided, but coverage taken up here in Barbados.
Yeah, and insurance penetration in Barbados is at a pretty low level. We saw after Elsa what happened in terms of people not being insured. The rate of participation in Barbados is way below developed country numbers. Unfortunately, in respect of deductible, there's very little that the insurance companies can do about that level, that excess, which applies, as I said before, with motor as well. But there's another aspect of the terms and conditions of cover that I really want insured policyholders, Barbadians, to understand as well, and it relates to another condition called the condition of average, which affects policyholders if they are underinsured. As Randy said in the beginning, insurance is a risk transfer mechanism. You transfer to the insurance company the proportion that you want. If you want to transfer 100%, then you have to make sure that your sum insured is up to scratch. If you don't, then the insurance company, in settling a claim, will look at the proportion that you've not insured, and your claim may be reduced accordingly. So those two aspects are very, very important conditions of insurance that the general public must become au fait with and understand, because it forms part of the insurance policy contract.
Okay, so we were spending some time with the General Insurance Association of Barbados, its president and directors. I know we have some more callers on the line. We will come back to you in a matter of moments after this commercial break. It's all about insurance and you on the People's Business. Tonight we're spending some time with the General Insurance Association of Barbados, and we're going to go directly back to the phone lines to field some more questions. Good night, caller. Welcome to the People's Business. What's your question or comment?
Hi, good night, Bill. Good night, Shane. Good night, panel. My question is there somewhere you can seek restitution or additional information if you feel slighted anywhere by insurance? I was speaking specifically about
Caller, please move the telephone device away from the television.
I am okay. Let me just try this because it's not really clear. Let me try this again. Any better?
Yes, you sound a little bit clearer.
Okay, right. So the question is there a place that regulates all insurance in Barbados such that if you have an actual issue that you can go and find out, if all the correct procedures are being followed? Speaking about specifically like insurance brokers, because I had an issue already. I'm still very upset about it with an insurance broker, and as I say, paying insurance and then have to try to deal with a legal perspective is a bit much. So I'm just wondering if there's somewhere, if you have an issue, you can actually reach out, or if there's any specific place that governs, what an individual might feel is a problem, whether they're right or wrong. If there's somewhere that you can go out and find out, as opposed to only that specific insurance company where you speak to that boss. Thank you.
Thank you very much, caller, for your question. A very good one indeed. The topic of insurance broker is something that comes up from time to time. As far as I understand it, and it's good to have all three of you on, is something like the middleman between the insurance company and the policyholder. Randy, I'll come to you with this one. You heard the caller's concern there. Is there like a complaints authority? I don't know if the GIAB would be that place, but is there like a complaints authority where people can go to have their grievances heard outside of coming directly to the insurance company?
Yeah, no, it was an excellent question, Shane. So, and I would say that insurance is extremely heavily regulated, right? Everything that we do in insurance, and it's not just the brokers, insurance companies, the salesmen, everything that insurance does is very highly regulated by the Financial Services Commission. And, we pride ourselves on as an industry to do our best, irrespective of the frustrations that persons have, to respond to clients and put them back in a better place for a loss. And if you have made a complaint into a broker or insurance company and it's not being handled in the way that you think it should be handled, you are free to make a complaint into the Financial Services Commission, who's the regulator for the insurance sector, and seek your responses from the FSC, who I am sure will look into the matter. And I would encourage the caller, if they haven't gotten responses from the person who they have been dealing with, they can call the FSC and they will investigate the matter.
We have another caller on the line, so let's go there. Good night, caller. Welcome to the People's Business. What's your question or comment?
Hi, good
And
evening.
please, caller,
Hi, good evening.
move away from the television set. Yeah, try not to listen to the television set. Try to listen to the panel and my voice so that we can hear you clearly.
Sure. Hi, good evening. Hi, good evening to the panel. My question is stemmed around the reinsurance, and I understand this reasoning. But my question to the panel: do the cost of insurance ever go down? Because you never hear that the cost of insurance goes down. You always hear how much millions the insurance pays out when there's a catastrophe, but you never hear the millions are collected and the profits make. There's less activity when there's a low season. That cost is passed on us. So why, when there's increase in reinsurance, always it and not passing on their savings first? Thank you.
So Shane, I mean, we have, as a sector, probably have not done as well as we should in communicating to the public, right? But I can tell you that insurance, and you can go to the central bank statistics, you can go to the financial services statistics, take it from an independent body, don't take it from the insurance companies. Insurance is one of the only products in Barbados that has had reductions in premiums for the last 10 years. As much as people may think and may not like insurance, you can go back. The premium that you are paying on your house for $100,000 in value 15 years ago, that premium that you were paying was more than you pay today. The prices of insurance for property in Barbados have gone down over the last 10 years. And we have passed on the savings that we have got, plus competition, to persons in insuring their property in Barbados. And you can go to the independent statistics to check it out. But I guarantee you that you will find that the premiums for property in Barbados have consistently gone down in the last 15 years in this country.
Well, let's keep the calls coming in. Good night, caller. Welcome to the People's Business. What's your question or comment for our panel? Okay, so we seem to have lost that caller. David, I want to come to you because it looks like you were itching to get in to respond to the caller as well.
I actually dropped out for a second and tried
Okay, and it
to come
appears.
back in.
Wait.
Yeah, you were a bit choppy there a minute, David. So
Just tell me
Maybe like to add.
Anton, don't answer yet because I think we have that caller back on the line again. So
Okay.
let's get the caller coming in. Good night. Welcome to the People's Business, caller. What's your question or comment?
Hi, good night.
Hi, good night. Welcome to the
Yes.
People's Business. What's your question or comment?
Yes, please. Okay, so I was listening to the gentleman say about the reinsurance, which is about 2%. I'm wondering why the average policyholder would pay that. Wouldn't that be considered a cost of doing business? And also, in regards to the motor insurance, I understand that when you get to a certain level of no claim discount that you pay, you can't go any lower. But then when a catastrophe happens, well, not a catastrophe, but you would hear that the insurance is going up because they had some type of catastrophe, some type of persons that were maybe getting into accidents, and because of this, you, the person that may not have made a claim, have no to pay for this, so to speak. So I was wondering why that would be.
Well, thank you, caller, for your question there. Randy, you want to handle that one again?
Yeah, sure, I can start, Shane. So, I mean, they're all valid points, right? I mean, the issue is that insurance operates on a fund. So some people say Peter pays for Paul, Paul pays for all. However you want to, it's easier for you to take on, it's fine. But it operates on a fund. So if I go back to the earlier question and the earlier point about paying $1,000 a year for 5 years in insurance premium, you paid $5,000, but when you have an accident, the insurance gives you a check for $30,000. So you have paid $5,000 and you get a check for $30,000. That $30,000 is coming out of a fund that everybody pays into, and the fund that is available there for any time you have or anybody has an accident. And the premise of insurance is that we take small premiums from everyone, put it into the fund, and then anytime you have a accident, you benefit from the fund that has built up. But we can't charge you enough for an individual to pay the claim. If not, we will be charging you $30,000 in 5 years to fund the car, which is we cannot do that. People cannot afford that. So what we do is to take small premiums and create a fund, and then whenever you have a claim, you get a big check for relative to the small premium that you have paid. So what happens is, if we have a lot of accidents in Barbados and it's pulling down on the fund, that's why you see from time to time you have to charge a little bit more and you get the increase to build back up the fund. And that's the way that insurance operates in order to make insurance affordable. Because if we had to charge everyone the cost of their claim, insurance would not be affordable and we will be in a lot of trouble, I think, if we had to have serious accidents in this country.
David, I want to come back to you on that 2%. The caller was asking if that should be just about the cost of doing business.
It's a very good comment she made, and she's saying, look, if I pay my insurance premium, why should I have to pay something afterwards? It's something that the industry itself has grappled with in our negotiations with reinsurers. And it has been imposed on us, Shane. I was thinking about your question about what could be done. And maybe one of the things that the industry could do is liaise and talk with government in terms of how can we partner to provide some sort of buffer so that people will have access to affordable insurance and also have an ease when that deductible is applied. But unfortunately, it's something that's imposed on all of us and we have to pay. If we can somehow have a facility with the capital of government, because it cannot be from the private sector, just don't have enough capital to be able to afford that 2%. As Randy said, it's billions of dollars of sum insured that we cover. 2% of that is a lot of money.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that, because government and the Prime Minister, more Motley, she has been pushing on the international stage for some level of climate financing generally because of the number of storms and massive storms and the damage that they're doing, Barbados and the region included. Maybe the discussion can come into that climate financing regime as well. Your thoughts, Anton?
Yes, I think that's very critical. I mean, we are facing now very severe storms, and the frequency has increased. So right now, it seems as though the reinsurers right now that we deal with, they have a lot to deal with in terms of international things happening internationally. Last one we had is Turkey. Turkey had a severe earthquake. That's billions of dollars. Last year it was Hurricane Ian in Miami. So again, billions of dollars again. So the same reinsurers that deal with us locally deals with these overseas countries that are affected. And again, if we want to be sure and to be protected, we in the industry we deal with rated A companies that we will be certain that will pay us when a disaster happens in Barbados. So it's something that we could look at, but Barbadians have to understand that reinsurance is critical to what we do, and again, when they are affected, again, we are also it passes on to us.
Yeah.
But I want to go quickly to the motor. to let Barbadians know under the Road Traffic Act that we are exposed to $10 million for any one loss to individuals, and in aggregate, $13 million. And you see, people look and see the two cars getting in an accident and figure, okay, that is okay. But then the injuries that as a result of these collisions, so it impacts, and it costs the insurance companies plenty money. As I mentioned earlier, how the cost of the insurance has skyrocketed. The accident, has skyrocketed, and the good drivers still benefit from no claim discount, as mentioned before, and benefit with better rates than those who get in accidents. So there is some benefit to those safe drivers.
Thank you so much, Anton, for that comment. Let's go back to the phone line very quickly before we go to this next commercial break. Good night, caller. Welcome to the People's Business. What's your question or comment?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening to the panel. My question is directed to Graham, because he mentioned in an previous answer, the caller, the Financial Service Commission, FSC. My question is, how much clout, for want of a better word, does the FSC have over insurance companies? And the reason I'm asking this question is a personal situation where the High Court has made a decision in favor of the insured or the policyholder, but the insurance company is bluntly refusing to pay. Is this something that the FSC can deal with?
Thank you, caller, for your question. We'll take a quick commercial and then come back and deal with that question and more as we talk about insurance and you here on the People's Business. We have about 12 more minutes to spend with you on the People's Business as we talk insurance, and you'll welcome in a few more callers very shortly. But we got to deal with that question that we had first in terms of regulation of the industry, and basically the caller wants to know the refusal of possibly, because we don't know the situation directly, we can't get into court matters, but in cases where an insurance company may tend to not want to pay that claim for some reason, and what regulation or possible recourse you may have in dealing with such a situation, Randy.
Yeah, so Chair, let me say that first of all, it's unfortunate. I like you said, I don't get into legal matters, so I don't know what the circumstances legally are. But I can tell the caller and Barbados that the FSC has some of the widest powers that I have seen written into legislation for a long time, and they have, the breadth of the powers of the FSC extend to, having to intervene into matters, or also intervene into the operations of the company. So I am very comfortable that if it is that there's a situation that needs intervention with an insurance company, the FSC has the ability to intervene. And I would encourage the caller again to reach out and explain the situation.
Let's go back to the phone lines here on the People's Business. Good night, caller. What's your question or comment?
Hi, good evening to the panelists. My
Good
question,
evening.
I want to take up Mr. Graham on a comment he made when I raised the option in terms of not letting us know when the cost of reinsurance goes down. Mr. Graham mentioned that insurance is cheaper now than 15 years ago. That's a very poor comment. I mean, 15 years ago, you had 10 persons insuring. 15 years later, you have 100 persons insured. Who is greater? So come on, Mr. Graham, give us a better explanation. When cost of reinsurance goes down, why isn't that being passed on to the policyholder? Thank you.
But McCall, I don't know how else to bring it over. Maybe we have to have more sessions, Shane, and a workshop so we can show the figures. But you can take the figure from Central Bank's Financial Stability Report. You will see the premiums charged in Barbados have reduced every year, year on year, for the last 15 years. It is passed on. It is. I don't know where else you can go to see it, but you will see that the rate that you paid for a house that was $100,000 in value 10 years ago was $600 a year. That house rate now would be $400 a year, even with the impacts of inflation. Your premium 10 years ago was $600. Your premium today is $400. You are paying $200 less today than you were 10 years ago. And it's reflected in all the industry statistics that's publicly available that you can see. And I'm sure that if you had your house insured with an insurance company 10 years ago and you go back to your renewal notice, you will see the renewal notice year on year has come back cheaper and cheaper to today. And you don't have to take my word for it. You can go and look at your own notice and see that the premium has consistently come down year on year.
Yeah, so many callers, so many questions. Let's go back there to the phone lines. Good night. Welcome to the People's Business, caller. What's your question or comment? Good night, caller. Welcome to the People's Business.
Thank you.
Yes, good night. What's your question or comment, please?
Okay. My question is, if I having work done on my house, and is the work covered by the insurance I pay yearly, or do I have to acquire additional insurance to cover the person who is working on the house?
Okay, David, I'll let you handle that one. What does the person do in that instance where they're getting some work done on their house? Do they have to seek additional insurance?
So there are a couple of things that she's talking about. The damage maybe to the house, and she's also talking about the workmen who work around the house.
Indeed.
She should let the insurance company know that work is being done. Generally, minor renovations will not be a problem under the normal homeowner's policy. The workmen who come onto the premises, if they're employed by her, will be covered under the insurance policy. If there are contractors who are not employed by her, then she should let the insurance company know and they'll note it on the policy. But generally, she should be able to have some kind of cover.
I want to give you gentlemen some final words here tonight in the last minutes of the show. And Anton, I'll go to you. What is one concern or one message that you would want to share with Barbadians or policyholders in terms of insurance? One thing that you really think that they should get on top of as we go into 2023, knowing that we'll be paying a bit more for insurance across the board?
Thanks, Shane. Right. The issue I think we have to focus on too is the number of accidents we're having on our roads. The reported to police is about 7,000 accidents on average annually, and another 1,000 unreported. So we're talking about 8,000 accidents, and that's just over 21 accidents a day, which I think is too high. And I mentioned already the cost of the accident that is impacting on insurance companies. So again, if we could get these accidents reduced, obviously, as the caller mentioned earlier, well, then we would consider reducing your premiums as well. And what we would want people to do is to drive defensively. There are accidents where persons can avoid, but they always, okay, I am in the right. So as long as I'm in the right, I can go and cause a collision, which is unfortunate. 90% of the accidents you see is from your own driving habits. Human error. It's not mechanical. It's not the potholes that people are concerned about and all these things. It's just human error. So again, if you could get these accidents reduced, well, then premiums would be reduced.
David, final comments from you?
Yeah, I want to echo some of what Anton just said. On the property side, with rates going up, we are kind of price takers to the world's reinsurers. But on the motor side, the cost of insurance for motor is directly in the hands of policyholders and drivers. We see every day a significant amount of rear end accidents and accidents in roundabouts. Now, rear ends are primarily carelessness, driving too close to the vehicle in front. On the roundabouts, on the other hand, I see some incidents taking place every day where it seems to me that there's some uncertainty as to how to use the roundabouts and the regulations which apply. And maybe the industry, our industry, should have some conversations with Transport Authority relative to making clear rules and regulations relating to the use of roundabouts. But once people do as Anton said, be careful, be aware of your surroundings constantly and not be aggressive, then premiums will go down.
Randy, you have about 30 seconds. Final words from you, my friend.
Shane, what I would say to the people of Barbados is a lot of discussion has happened on the property insurance rate, but I can guarantee you, property insurance is there for a catastrophe. You have seen hurricanes devastate Dominica, Jamaica, even our own Barbados back in 1955 with Jeanette. And it's the most difficult thing for a country to respond to. We don't have the funds available in Barbados. It is wrong to ask the government to come in and rebuild properties when they cannot afford to do so. The insurance sector has done lots of work. We have put in and found ways to get the capital, and Barbadians can rest assured that we can rebuild this country if we have the unfortunate circumstance of a hurricane, but will long God continue to be a Barbadian.
It's something we hear every year. We say that God is a Barbadian, but we need to be responsible as well. I really want to thank you, gentlemen, for spending some time with us. We will have to do a part 2 on this conversation because there are a number of other matters that we need to cover as far as insurance is concerned. But thank you for your time, and viewers, thank you as well for your questions and for spending your Sunday night with us here on The People's Business. I'm Shane Seeley. Good night.
Sure, no problem. Take care.
Thank you, Don.
Wait. Can everyone still hear me?
Oh,
Anton?